Okay, we're live.
Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the week one cast assessment for Big Brother Pasio. So basically this week what happened was Monty and Jules were partnered in the HOH comp. They won HOH and decided for Monty to be HOH. Anthony and Kaylee were immune. Renee and Sydney were the initial noms. Then Renee saved herself with the veto, and Makala went up. And Sydney was nearly unanimously evicted. So we always start with the same question. So, do we think that this was a good HOH reign for Monty?
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
It was real good.
Yeah, I think it was the best possible thing that he could have done throughout the week. Like, it was the smartest decision to put up, like, all three of the people. And he left the week with no blood on his hands and with really good connections with, like, a lot of the people in the house.
Yeah, like he's being linked into this kind of majority seven that's kind of forming in, but he's also not too connected that when it blows up, which I think it will do with Eve and Dylan involved, he won't be too much in the repercussions of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think honestly, I've said this like every season, I think. Like winning first HOH is the smartest thing you can do in the game because it gets you so many connections and gets you in with everyone. And I think like in the 14 seasons of this game, only one person hasn't done a good job with first HOH. It was Brennan and Galar, but like
Mm.
it played it so well. Like he kept people safe. People are gonna trust him. Like you guys said, he nominated like the people who you should nominate week one. And I think he didn't get nearly any blood on his hands. So I think it was a good week for him.
Yeah.
Um, So the dynamics in the house are kind of forming. What do you like? What is everyone's thoughts? Like, who do you think is playing really well right now?
I I think the person
I
causing I'm sorry.
no different.
I'm so, okay, now the person causing like the game dynamic really in my opinion is Jules. Like Jules is like they're getting their little troops together and an army is like forming. Like people are running to Jules, like Owen runs to Jules, Eve runs to Jules, like Chloe runs to Jules. Like Jules is making their like web of connections throughout the house and is really setting the tone that the game is starting to be played.
Yeah, but I also think that it's gonna blow up because, like,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously they're trying to make an alliance with like a bunch of people, and like I feel like right now Dylan and Evelyn and maybe a little bit of Kate are kind of in a position where it's like I feel like something's gonna happen where like they're gonna snap and like that alliance is gonna blow up. And I don't know, I think Jules is well enough connected with everybody that like they're not gonna get targeted when it does blow up, but they're gonna have such
Mm-hmm.
a huge threat, like threat level, if their name is involved, because everyone is already so intimidated by them.
Yeah, the thing with Jules is weird. So they're working with like Johnny, Dylan, Eve, kind of Kate, but in their DR, they're like, I don't trust this person. They're working with da 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 da. So their main connections are the ones they don't trust, and then they are distrust people on the other side, and they're kind of crossing out their own options. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jules is in one of the best positions in the entire house, and it's just a question of what Jules decides to do with it. I
Mm-hmm.
think that my fear for Jules is that they kind of are easily perturbed by people, and I'm
Mm.
not sure if that's going to like influence Jules's like gameplay decisions or not. We don't really know. I also know that something that's really bad that's happening right now is that Dylan and Kate and Jules and Monty, like that permutation of people is forming alliances with all different like one or two people groups. So it's like the three, some combination of the three of them plus a few other people. And they
Mm-hmm.
keep
Mm.
doing that over and over and over, thinking that no one's gonna ever compare notes and say, why are like the same people in alliances with like two random other scrap people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think down the line, that's going to be something that bites them in the
Yeah,
ass.
and I think it's really, really gonna bite Dylan because he's a returnee. And I feel like if it ever happens, like, I feel like Kate is just gonna go up as like a pawn next to him, and then they're all gonna get out Dylan. And he's like
Yeah.
literally, like, he just digs himself into a deeper hole literally every single day.
Yeah, because that group is kind of operating like they're so slick. But I've been like watching the R's. Yusuf's T chart has the four of them connected. Johnny begun his video being like, "Hey, so these four are all friends and probably together. Like everyone's gonna be onto them so soon."
Mm-hmm. They make
They're
it so
just-
obvious.
Yeah, they're just so like reckless. Like it's only like this because they're really the only ones playing the game right now. Like once this blows up and stuff, people are gonna catch momentum and they're going to take them out.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Yeah, I think also, like, I say this every time that something like this happens, that's really boring when people who know each other really well, like, I love Kate, Dylan, Keely, and Jules on their own, but the fact that they, like, made a core alliance day one and, like, haven't really bothered to, like, I mean, that's fine, but, like, the people who they're, like, roping in with them are just more people that they already know, and it's like, what's the point of playing these games if you aren't going to, like, reach out and connect with new people, especially in a cast like this where there are people like Kat, Anthony, Chloe, Makala, like Kayla, people who are super like new and fresh that you could easily pull under your wing.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Yeah, it just like Jules preseason, they were like, I don't really want to play with my friends if my friends are here. But like that's all they're doing. And like once it boils down to it, their friends are the people that knows like their threat level the best. Like their closest allies are the people that know how they play and therefore are should be like it should be considered that like they will target her at some point.
Mm-hmm.
While these newer people, they're going to be sheep. They're going to be like, oh yes, Jules, yada yada yada.
Yeah, I think we also said this in like the cast assessment, like where we the last one, but like I don't think they realize that anyone else is working together, which is really
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
they have no idea that like Emily, Johnny, and Anthony have a little thing going
No.
on. They have no idea that like the other people that have pre-games like Arya, Caleb, and Makala like all are together. Like they have no idea, which is really funny because like I don't know, everyone else is like I don't know, like everyone else just is hiding it.
For me, it's like the two most woke people in this game are Johnny and Yusef,
Mm-hmm,
because
for
both
sure.
of them have really like clocked the shit out of that four-person alliance, and they're both very aware. And I think even Arya too. Like, there's a lot of people who are kind of aware that these people are like all buddy-buddy. They're like getting along really well. And I think it's just a matter of time before someone slaps them up on the block. It's just a question of like how long that's going to take because it is a bold thing to do. But with that being said, I do have to say, like, if I had to pick someone, I know on my little host jokers, I put Johnny as number one because I think, and this is like definitely unexpected, no offense, but he really has taken this game by storm week one. Not in an overplaying way, but in a way where like he's positioning himself well and like working with new people, but also like honoring his connections that he can't get rid of otherwise.
Yeah, he's doing an amazing job, and I think that like he's not overplaying at all either. So like nobody's gonna like target him, or like he's kind of just like flying under the radar and just like having his connection and like being likable. Like I really don't see him like going anywhere anytime soon.
I think he's the returnee who's shown the most growth. That's what you're saying, but like he's learned from his mistakes, while other ones are really falling into the same patterns of behavior.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, like Eve is literally hosting like Jackbox nights when it's written in her bio explicitly. Eve used game nights. Wasn't that Anthony who said that and was
Yeah,
like,
that was
Yeah.
Anthony.
like very, very obviously, and it works, and I think it will work to a little bit of an extent this time, but it is something that works.
Yeah.
Eve is tricky. I obviously had Eve as my winner pick last time, but I see her so rapidly accelerating back towards Galar, being fixated on a person and kind of losing that tact that I thought she had earlier on.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, like before the Anthony comment, which is like pretty bad in itself, like Eve was very like self-aware in my opinion. Like she was able to like see where other people were, or like at least guess or infer. Like when you have someone like Anthony and like you're fixated on them, like you lose all like peripheral vision.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna be able to see the rest of the game being played.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm very nervous for Eve.
I think Eve is definitely gonna take her like personal problems into the game, which I think honestly, if Anthony goes up, he's really social and really likable. I think that he definitely has a chance of staying. And so I just think
Yeah,
that I
unless
think it's like
she puts
another
up.
Olivia moment where Eve puts
Yeah.
up somebody and like they're gonna
Mm.
stay. And it's
Yeah,
just like
and you just don't want to be the person, like week 2, who's taking out a personal vendetta on someone,
yeah.
because that, even if you are successful in that, it doesn't read well to other people in the game. It's like, oh well, if I rub Eve the wrong way, then I'm gonna find myself in that
Yeah,
position.
and
And so I just think not the move right
mhm.
now. So I think it's in Eve's best interest, honestly, to not win HOH, but who knows what's going to happen.
And I think it's really interesting how Dylan made the like same like ignorant comment and nobody is like talking
Yes.
about how he did it. And
Yeah.
it's like I don't know, it's really strange because I think because even like Kate was like, y'all see what Anthony said, and Dylan was like, LOL, like I said the same thing, and it was
And
like
no
no
one
one,
cared.
yeah,
Yeah.
no one's
No one
really
cares.
caring,
No
and I
one
think
cared.
it's just because Anthony's a newbie and he's like an easy target.
Yeah.
It's just
And
like,
that,
I'm sorry, I'll let you go.
and that also just speaks to Dylan's continuing to like have a little bit of social unawareness and just like, that was so clear what Kate meant and he just didn't get it.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know, like Anthony should be given some grace because like I'm pretty sure Eve hasn't told Anthony that they are non-binary, that they are transgender in that way. So it's just like some grace should be given, but like I understand why Eve feels the way they feel. That's she feels that's valid.
Mm.
But it's just like it's just I don't know, it's just like really hard spot that it puts like everyone in, and like if Eve wins HOH, this game is going to get personal very quickly,
Yeah.
and the house is going to split into sides.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I think a lot of people will be on Anthony's side. I think everyone, because I think everyone really sees that Eve's friends with. I mean, if you look at the VC now, like all the people who are comfortable being there, they're all like in that same group. And so I think people are gonna see like Eve just picking on like a newbie who doesn't know anyone, and the numbers will somehow come to Anthony's defense, I
Yeah,
think.
I definitely agree, and especially with Johnny being on Anthony's side, like Johnny is, I think, has a really good control in the game, and if he puts his mind to it, he will flip the votes, and especially because like I feel like Eve it doesn't have good like at least from Galar doesn't have good like awareness of like who will be
Mm-hmm.
kept as like a pawn because obviously she put up Nora against
We all
Olivia
know. Yeah.
and like that failed miserably. So I think Eve is gonna fall into the exact same pattern.
Yeah. I think Dylan's falling into the same pattern. I
Mhm.
really worry for him because everyone, even his allies,
Yes.
well,
Yeah.
especially his allies, are like, he's playing way too hard with all the different alliances and all the different, like, pretending to not know Kate. Like, I think the move for him and Kate was to just be upfront with people and be like, yeah, we know each other, but, like, we're not going to work together exclusively.
Yeah.
Because I think it's fairly transparent that they know each other and are friends.
Yeah, I think it's like, I don't know, at least I feel like if he did the same thing, because like in Sinnoh, when me and Sydney came in and we were obviously like really good friends, like we just said that we were friends and we're just like, yeah, we like
And no
wanna,
one really cared.
yeah,
that
no
much.
one cared because we were like, I wanna work with you and like make an alliance with like us three, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like
Yeah.
if they just did that, then it would be so much better, but instead they're like lying to everyone and trying to hide it, which is like,
Yeah.
just rubs people the
Not
wrong way.
smart. It's like the people who go on Big Brother and they like lie about something random that doesn't matter, like their occupation. It's just like, why are you like? It just makes people not trust you.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the other thing that like we haven't touched on that much is like the fact that everyone except for a few people is ignoring, like, especially returnees. I feel like the newbies are more woke to the returnee versus newbie dynamic than the returnees. I feel like the returnees are all targeting each other, and the newbies are like, we have to get them out. And so unless something happens where like the only person who's like kind of woke to this is Johnny and Emily to some extent, because they're like, oh, I don't want to go next because I'm a returnee. Or Emily being like, I'm a winner, I don't want to be targeted for that, and her like trying to keep Renee safe because she doesn't want to be targeted. Those are the only people who are seeing it that way, and I think they're gonna regret that.
I
Yeah.
feel like it's like similar to like Ore in a sense, where like there is like the newer generation of players, and then there are the scrappy older generation. Like in Ore, like me, Ricky, Julia, and Roxy, we all got pre-jury. Like there was a disconnect within that, and like I see it right here. Like the newer returnees, they're all friends.
There he goes.
The newer returnees.
Hello. Did I cut off?
Hello.
Oh, you left. You said the newer returnees.
Oh, and the newer returnees, like they're already friends, they're already like in a little group, and they're not giving like the old returnees a chance to integrate. But on the flip side, the older returnees are not playing the game. They're like just waiting. They're waiting for something to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, I think they really, really underestimate the newbies. Like the fact that like
Yeah.
no, but like the fact that no one's really like talking about like all the returnees aren't like, all right, we have to keep a returnee in. You know what I mean? Except for that.
Yeah.
And it's like the
If I was
the
a
newbies are
returnee,
so
I would have
smart.
been like, I would have entertained the idea of keeping. I don't know if I would have kept Sydney, but I would have at least been like, acknowledged the fact that once one returnee starts to go, it's gonna start. It could start a trend if next week doesn't go. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, and exactly in the way that Galar, like the Ori people were like, we gotta keep Emma around and
yeah,
Sarah A because if one of them go, then we're next.
we're gonna be next. Yeah.
Oh. No, yeah, I mean it's just because like it's split so evenly that like they're not acknowledging it, and it's kind of like that in Ore, where I don't think the returnees really had that type of mentality. They just wanted their little newbies, and they want to go at war with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the returnees kind of look at each other, like especially Jules, like looks at Emily and is like, oh, like Emily is such like a good social, true, like a good social player, like is a threat, is a winner, blah blah blah, and that kind of clouds Jules, and I think other people too, not just to pick on Jules, but other people's perceptions because they aren't seeing that that's a strength to their advantage where they can be like, oh, this person's like a shield. Like if you're nominated next to a winner, like you can easily make the argument to people, this person won, like give me a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
And it's just like Jules is like not really like, okay, the returnees in general, like they're not acknowledging, other than the winners, their own threat level. Like Jules wanting Emily out, no, you stay. Jules will stay against Emily. I don't think Jules would stay against any other returnee because Jules is too threatening.
Yeah, literally, even against Renee and Kaylee, like, and they're winners. Like, I just don't think that Jules understands how big of a threat, and because that they're in so many alliances already, that like if it gets exposed, maybe not now they would be like evicted, but as soon as it gets exposed or as soon as it like comes out that Jules is aligning with so many people, then it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's definitely going to get interesting. I'm most interested to see like because towards this eviction, that Otters alliance of Makala, Caleb, and Arya was kind of talking about what they're gonna do next, what their next move is, because I feel like all three of them feel really cornered and isolated, even though they're not super isolated, but I get why they feel that way. So it's kind of interesting to see if they come into power, what's going to happen. Because I have a feeling that people this week, besides maybe even a few others, are going to opt for flight. And it's going to be not as hard as it would be to win a competition this early on.
Yeah, for sure.
Even that, it's like Caleb, Makala, and Arya, they all knew each other before this. It took them a whole round to finally make that alliance. And like especially with Makala, I feel like Makala has been very fixated on like the people she already knew and really ignored when it came to like gameplay the whole entire house. And I feel like Makala is really setting herself up to be like a pawn down the road.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, I don't even think down the road. I think like
I mean like next week down the road.
like next
Yeah.
like I feel like McCall is the perfect pawn for Eve's little plan. But I also think McCall is the perfect pawn to go home and
Yeah.
foil Eve's little plan.
For sure.
Mhm.
I don't know, but I also think this could light a fire under McCullough and
Mhm.
also under Renee. Because I
Mm.
feel like that's the last thing we haven't talked about is Renee snapped in Vegas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, like
She
Joey
fucking
did.
did that, and she snapped, and she proved why she's a winner, and why people shouldn't think that they can just like underestimate her.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I love
Renee.
Renee. I feel like she's gonna like snap. Like if she wins in HOH, she's gonna make a big ass move, and then like she has the persona where like she'll make a big ass move and then go right back under the radar, just like
Mhm.
literally
Yeah.
how she wants to know.
And
I don't know.
then, Julia, you talked about this, about how she's really good when she gets in a group. And she's made the connections to do that with Johnny, with Anthony, with Emily, who are already a three. Like, if she can get past like 1-2 more weeks, she's set.
For
Yeah.
sure.
And that's kind of what Renee does. Like she gets cornered like that. She wins a comp or does what she has to do to survive. And then she kind of retreats to the background, and then she comes out and snaps and makes crazy moves and then retreats back. And then that's kind of what she does. I also think it'd be really, really wise for returnees, some of them, to scoop her up, because she's someone who can win a comp for you. She's less connected, so if you're on the block with her, she'll probably go home. People are kind of intimidated by her. I think anyone really should scoop her up, but returnees especially Kaylee and Emily. And Emily has already started to do that. But I think that's a winning move, is
Yeah.
to scoop her up.
And she's like a vote to keep you if she's not nominated. Like
Yeah.
I think Renee is like such a good ally to have. Like she's such a shield. Like as in like if you're on the block, like 100% she's gonna go.
Yeah, and she's insanely loyal, which
Mhm.
people, I say that as if people would know, but they should know because it's in her bio twice.
Yeah.
So,
Like I don't know. I feel like it's just really frustrating because like I played with Renee, and I really like, I don't know, like I really took advantage of her, and so like I have
that's the
firsthand
other thing I wanted to
experience.
say. Sorry if I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
But on the Jackbox games that Eve was hosting, she was like basically making fun of Renee to her face in front of everyone, I guess, to like be a clown and like a jokester. And like I feel like that's just not the move. Like that really was like and also Renee can win a comp, so like I would not be shocked if she wins HUH and does something about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any thoughts on
On what?
I think what's weird, I don't know if this makes sense. What's weird about this season is, in my eyes, a lot of people are playing badly, but then the people that are playing badly are in power at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how that shakes out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. That's true. I feel like they don't know that they're playing badly too.
Yeah.
Like, they think they're untouchable right now.
Yeah.
It's only week
Yeah, and
one.
I think that they think that they think that they think. No, I think that that group of people believes that they like are in a better position than like Monty or someone like that. And I think Monty came out of this week like from that side of the house, which is slowly forming. It's not really a side yet, but he came out on top out of
For
all of
sure.
them, and I don't think that they're aware of that.
Yeah. I think the problem, I was going to say this earlier, I think the problem is Jules and Dylan are probably the most vocal people in that four-person alliance, and they both come from seasons where a four-person alliance kind of steamrolled. Dylan with the kind of Ore 4 and Jules with the leftover 4. So they think, oh, it's going to happen again. A 4's going to steamroll and we're that 4, and they don't adapt that to be, maybe that's not so true anymore.
I just don't. I just think they're not really aware, like at all. Like Dylan
Yeah.
lacked awareness in Galar, and it's still like the same. Like he's so unaware, and like in this point, and like I feel like it's better to be unaware about an alliance that like you're not included in, than better to be unaware and thinking like nobody's onto you. You know?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because they think that they're real slick. They were on that alliance called like, oh, nobody's gonna ever think that we're working together. When like 3 people have already pegged them as working together week 1. Like, it just like is a question of whether I feel like it's the same thing that happens a lot of seasons where there's an like in charge side of the house that could have the potential to dominate and keep winning comps, but the underside of the house needs to realize who's on the bottom of the house so that they can rise up against the people on top. Because like last season this happened where there were all these like people on the bottom, but they didn't realize that they were all on the bottom together, and so they all like went after each other instead of coming together and going after the people who were on the top of the house. And I think this is the season where that could happen because all the people who are on the quote bottom are people who are strong players, very perceptive, can win comps.
Yeah,
Mm,
for sure.
I agree.
Yeah, I think.
But it'll be
Yeah,
very interesting.
I think that I don't know. Like compared to Rancy, like I don't know. The pre-jurors, you could kind of tell who was gonna go pre-jury, like from night one.
Yeah.
But like this one, it's filled with such strong players that it's gonna like pre-jury's gonna be crazy. Like
Yeah.
Oh, that's
it's definitely gonna be
Yeah.
interesting.
Especially once the first few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, while we were on this call, by the way, Jules messaged their DR and was like, Dylan and all of them are talking about Big Brother Monopoly in front of everyone.
Oh,
And it's like, oh my god, like they're literally proving our points live as we say this. Like,
Oh my god, that's right
oh my
there.
gosh.
and Aria is so perceptive, and she's on the call, and she will now run to her DR. I know it, and
Oh,
type
yeah,
like a
and she
10
definitely-
She
message
runs her
thing.
alliance.
Yeah, she really overanalyzes too, but I think that's like kind of a good thing because she's gonna. I feel like she's the type of girl. She's gonna go up. She's gonna Google what Monopoly is. She's gonna like see
Oh,
like that
yeah.
everyone knows each other.
Yeah. And once she gets onto that, she'll be able to tell other people and clock it pretty easily.
Yeah.
I think Arya, like you made a good point. She does overanalyze sometimes, and like I think she gets too much in her head. Like she was like, "Oh, Lucas went like on invisible to ignore me," when he probably was just like not on his phone.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is a big downside to her. But I think in a season like this that is pretty cracked, and there are a lot of details and a lot of things you need to pick up on, like it could serve her well.
Mhm.
Jules is being a little bit sloppy. I just read her one-on-one with like Owen, and she's trying to already paint the 2 votes as Emily and Lucas.
Yeah, but like nobody's because okay,
No one's gonna believe.
no one's gonna believe that because obviously one of the votes was Renee. Like very,
Yeah.
very clearly. Like
Totally.
they played together, like they're friends outside the game. Like
seasons,
very,
yeah.
very clearly, one of the votes was Renee. And so
Yeah.
like even when they were saying that in their DR that they wanted to throw a vote, maybe if they threw a vote and there were 3 votes, maybe that could
Yeah,
work.
maybe.
But
Yeah,
2
I don't
votes, like very, very clear, it's Renee. Like
Yeah,
there's
like-
no way. And then once it as and I know they're probably gonna go to Johnny and say that. Then once it gets to Johnny, it's gonna get back to Emily, and then Emily's gonna have
Yeah.
like
I think, yeah. Wait, sorry. Emily's gonna. Sorry.
no, Emily's gonna like be aware that Jules is like after.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think it's very sloppy.
They need to pick it up.
Like, like I just like Emily is not the type of person that you can do stuff like that to. Like,
Mhm.
um,
Emily will scream in her car, and then she will get you out, and that's what's going to happen.
She'll hit you with the car.
and then she'll back up over you as she like slips away. Emily is. Anyways,
What the fuck was
with
that
that being
noise?
said, what was I gonna say? Oh, I think that this next week is gonna the easy nom is gone. Like Sydney was the easy nom. Renee is no longer an easy nom because she proved that she can win veto and that she's not inactive because she is talking to people and she is actively participating. So it's no longer easy noms anymore.
Mm.
And I think we could start to see two sides going at each other, especially if Evelyn does Evelyn's thing.
Yeah.
Oh god, it's
I'm excited.
cool that it's unpredictable, but it's just like, oh, I feel like a storm is coming, and like I think poor Dylan is gonna like get hit by like a truck. I just feel it. It's
This theme has really like it's kind of like Galar in other seasons. Ore has very negative, brooding energy. Like the way that they all like. I think on those seasons it was Olivia, and this time it's Evelyn. Like they all kind of like gang up and bully one person, and when that starts happening, like one. Like what they were doing to Sydney and what they were kind of doing to Renee, which like I wouldn't call bullying, but like ganging up on, I guess is the term that I would use rather than bullying. It's like that just continues the whole pre-jury usually, where they pick one person and they ostracize them and then they get sent out. Like that definitely happens every time that we have these big personalities. Like look what happened with like Brennan on Galar. Like all pre-jury was filled with people who were like ostracized on their way out.
Yeah, but it's just like these returnees, I don't want to be like, I just feel like they're not as strong. Like they really can't be able to do that. They can get like 2 or 3 people out, but they're gonna get their shit rocked eventually. Like Olivia, like she is able to miss people. Evelyn, to a certain extent, she can, but once like her persona is seen through, like they are going to look at Evelyn for what she is, and they're going to see that she is the villain from Galar still.
You know who's kind of sitting pretty right now? Nathan. I was just looking at the online. I was like, I forgot about him.
Like I've been watching his video DRs, and I said this last time. He did his DR last one began with, "I'm trying something new this season. It's called shutting the fuck up," and actually like for him that's so good. To just sit and chill, and he'll go so far.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. I just feel like with Nathan, he just really hasn't. I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing for Nathan, but like he just hasn't really made that connection with anyone yet, in my opinion. But like maybe that is good for him.
Yeah. It's going to get very interesting this week.
I'm excited.
Do you guys have anything else to add before we wrap her up?
Yeah, I think we talked about everything.
Let's get this party started.
Okay.
Adios.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.